Hello and welcome to a tag video. What? Wow. Were you tagged? No, I was not. Nobody tags me in tag videos anymore. Probably because I don't do them. The last tag I did was the Paxi tag, which I literally created in December. So I've not done any tags since then. But I like to do this every year. And this is the Midyear Freakout tag, which gives kind of like an overview of the types of books that you've been reading this year and talks a little bit more about your interpretations of the books and like talking about some of your favorites and things that I don't always just, go out and say. So this gives me a chance to kind of talk about what this year of reading is looking like so far for me. So without further ado, let's get to it. Prop number 1 is the best book you've read this year. So I have 2 for this because I'm a cheater and I don't like to choose. So whatever, deal with it. It's Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, which I just literally finished yesterday, which was absolutely brilliant and is amazing and is so incredibly good. Technically it hasn't come out yet though, so that's how I'm like, well, it's the best book, one of the best books I've read this year, but technically it's not out yet, so I can put another book that is out. And my other favorite is Dweller by Jeff Strand. These books don't have a lot in common, but they do tell much different stories than I was expecting going in. I think they both really subverted my expectations and told a very rich emotional tale with very three-dimensional characters that really kind of made me think about my own life and some of my own habits, and I thought was just like incredibly entertaining, both of these books, where they bring a very interesting and complex and unique layered story, but it also brings a lot of comedy and a lot of enjoyment of the horror genre in general. So I loved both of them. They both really exceeded my expectations, and I did have high expectations for both. So up there. Number 2 is the best sequel you've read so far, and I'm so glad this was a part of it because this book would have also been in contention and I would have had 3 for the first one. But this would be Echoes of Eternity by Aaron Dembski Bowden. This is the 7th book in the Siege of Terra series, but is probably like, I think it's like it's either book 60 or like book 59-ish or whatevs of the Horus Heresy series in general, which is this big, long Warhammer story that really kind of sets up how the universe got to what it's like in modern fiction. And it's like this big, huge, ginormous civil war that has all of these individual parts, and this is nearing the end of the final confrontation of that conflict. And Aaron Dembski Bowden really gets to the human elements of the inhuman, and it's just so good. Like, the characters are so good, and there's like fight scenes in this that are just like amazing. Some of the best action sequences I've ever read. There is a scene where Angron, who is like this big, huge demon man, fights Sanguinius, who is the more like angelic looking dude, and like they have this amazing battle throughout the streets and the palace itself, and it's like huge battle while all these like armies are fighting below them, and it's an amazing fight scene with some great action. And like Aaron Dembski Bowden really brings out some of the more interesting elements of the characters who have fallen to chaos, like Angron, who is now basically stripped of all his like sentience minus just this overwhelming anger that has like completely consumed him. And yeah, it was just awesome. It was such a good book, and there was like so many interesting flashbacks and characters that I've been fought like that were like in the background for a while, but I never really cared about them until Aaron Dembski Bowden went all in on them. Like characters like Amit the Flesh Terror, who is one of the Blood Angels, and he is a character that is kind of like in the background of a few Horus Heresy book and is like a bigger character in the like the big 40K universe, but I never found it that interesting until Aaron Dembski Bowden took that character and really fleshed him out. So really, really loved that book. Next one is new release you haven't read yet but want to. So for this one, it is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. This is something that has been actually recommended to me. Somebody read it and they said, "Oh, this is something that you would probably like," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to that." I do like Craig DeLuey. I think he is a good author. I've only read one book by him, but I'm really excited to read more because episode 13 was chef's kiss. So really excited to see what he does next. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I have two. Shouldn't surprise anyone, but they're both like tie-in books. First one is Alien Seventh Circle by Philippa Ballantine and Clara. I will put her full name in the thing so I don't mispronounce it. But they wrote a really great Alien book called Alien Inferno's Fall, which they co-wrote together. I believe it was either 2022 or 2023 that book came out, and this is them teaming up once again to do another Alien book. And I'm really excited about that. They have not released the cover for what it's going to look like, but I'm really excited to get more Alien books this year. We're also getting Alien Uncivil War, but I hate the title. So, I hope that book is good, but it's called Alien Uncivil War, and I'm like, that's a dumb title. So I'm not looking forward to the title alone. So Alien Seventh Circle is the one that I have most anticipated. And also, there's a Warhammer book coming out called Eidolon, the Oricama. And I love Eidolon. He is one of the Emperor's Children, which is one of my favorite legions, and they'll come up again, but they're kind of like the Lords of Excess. And he has, at this point, it's set near the end of the Horus Heresy, and he is going towards the final battle that I was talking about with Aaron Dembski Bowden, and it's his journey there. And at this point, he has changed so much and is such an interesting character. He's had his head sewn back on, and he always talks like this in audiobooks. And I love him. Eidolon is such a kind of a pompous character who is now kind of like a zombie, and I love him so much. And he's got I love him. So I can't wait to see what adventures he gets into. The biggest disappointment. So this one, I'm gonna have to say, unfortunately, is Along the Razor's Edge by Robert J. Hayes. I was really anticipating this book. I actually have read a little bit of this author's other work, and I was really liking that one. I didn't finish that book, though, because I had a Kindle Unlimited subscription that kind of just lapsed. But I still want to read that one. I think for this one is I liked the story in the isolated area that it was told in, but the problem is the storytelling I really didn't like, because it is about this woman who is trapped in this mine, and she has to come across some ancient mystical power to kind of allow herself to free herself from this prison, and all the miners to free themselves from this horrible thing that they've been kind of shackled with. And it is an interesting story in that regard, but the problem is they keep flashing forward to future events, and every time they did that, I just wasn't into it. And it was that is where this character is going on her journey, and they just kept giving little flash forwards, and they'll write a sentence, they'll be oh, except for when I did this thing, and the other thing that is in the future coming up. I was just that's not interesting to me at all. I love the here and now story, but I don't like the storytelling. This wasn't a bad book. I was just kind of disappointed because I was really expecting a larger, better 5-star book, in my opinion. Next up is The Biggest Surprise. So for this one, I'm going to go with The City of Ravens by Richard Baker, because this is a book I found in a little free library. I had no expectations for this. I have liked some of the D&D books I've read. I've been enjoying them. But I was really kind of focused on The Legend of Drizzt, which is all R.A. Salvatore's work. So I didn't think that me going out of that particular type of story if I would be into it at all. And yeah, no, this was just great. And it's fun because the main character is very much kind of like this slimy thief who is just kind of like out for himself. And he's like put in all these situations where other books would be like, and this is when he has his hero moment. But he just like pieces. Like there's one point when like he's like trying to steal from like this ancient vault and a dragon shows up and like there's like this entire party of people and he just leaves them. He abandons them. He just teleports out of there and gets out of there instantly and they're all stuck having to fight this giant dragon and he just abandoned them because he's not a hero. He's just kind of in it for himself and he's like trapped in this larger conspiracy about like the eventual running of the city that he is in, and there's like all these like extra elements to it, and it's just really a fun fantasy novel that has like a really good tone that I really enjoyed. So high recommendation for that. Favorite new author, so this is either a debut author or new to you. I'm gonna go with new to you. S.A. Barnes, because I loved Ghost Station. I read Ghost Station this year and it was one of the best books I've read this year. Absolutely emotionally charged book that really kind of like hit me hard. The journeys of the characters were like so well fleshed out and really like that book. And I now want to read other S.A. Barnes books because yeah, Ghost Station freaking ruled. Newest fictional crush is the lady vampire who is the main lady vampire in Live Girls. She's cool, okay? She's got 2 jobs. She's like she's working hard, you know, sex works is work, and she's also a dancer at like this cool artistic nightclub. So like she's got all these cool things. She's got a cool apartment. She seems pretty nice for a vampire, you know. She's just doing what she's got to do to get the blood. She's greatly skilled at many things, and she's got a cool apartment. She's pretty cool, and you know, she's just eating people, which is fine. You know? Yeah, I'm you know, there's a lot of crappy people out there, you know? Let the vampire have some of them, you know? So yeah, the lady vampire in Live Girls. She's cool. Okay? Next up, newest favorite character. I probably would say Drecky Flint from Arknaught's Oath, which was so fun. He's this dwarf who, again, is kind of a scoundrel. He's like a pirate, but he is, like, unlike the character in City of Ravens, he's like more of a genuinely good-hearted pirate who is trying to do what's right. And he kind of gets roped into having to do this very dangerous quest because he owes some people a lot of money, and if he doesn't do this quest, they're gonna, like, you know, basically kill him. So he's basically roped into doing what's pretty much seen as like a suicide mission, and it's really fun adventure tale, and it's all kind of like focused on the captain, who is Drecky Flint, who is like leading this like giant airship into this no-win scenario, and it's like all about his like relationship with his crew, and like it's just really entertaining, and he's just a great character, and he's like one of those characters, he's like kind of like a blowhard as well. He's like, of course I will do it, for I am Drecky Flint, and I love it every time he's like, because I am Drecky Flint. I just loved all that stuff. It was so good. Book that made you cry. This one was a surprise. City of the Undead by C.L. Warner. Because I'm like, duh? This is a book that's like a zombie fantasy series. And this is the 3rd book in the series. And oh my goodness, you get so attached to these characters going to the first 2 books that when the 3rd book hits, and it's just like a bloodbath for all your faves, it's like so heartbreaking. I was like, no. And yeah, so I loved it, but I was like so mad. I was like, because I was so sad and mad. I was like, no, why would you do this, you evil man? Why would you make me love these characters just to murder them? But I'm not going to tell you who got murdered because it's a really good series and I think you should check it out. Number 11, book that made you happy. I'm going to go with another one that could have almost been in a bunch of these categories, is A Rival Most Vile. This is a book that I fully have to thank Kitty from Spicy Cats Reads. They recommended the book and I was instantly in love with it. It's so good. It is such a good, cozy fantasy romance, and it's so good. It has great characters. It has a great vibe. It has a great cover. The audiobook is fantastic. I just absolutely loved Arrival Most Vile, and I'm really excited because another book in that series is coming out soon. Yes. It is amazing. If you don't know, it's basically these two opposing potion makers are on this like street that are like across from each other, and it's basically like kind of like an enemies to lovers type thing, and it's I loved it. 12. Favorite book to movie adaptation this year. I'm going to change this to novelization because I've not watched any book to movie adaptations this year, I don't think. And for that, so it's going to be Alien by Ellen Dean Foster, which I somehow had not read, which is wild. But it was amazing. It's just as good as the movie. Another 5 stars. It's one of those books that proves that just because something's a novelization doesn't make it trash. Great books can be novelizations. Fight me in the comments. Number 13 is favorite review I've written this year. I guess I'm going to go with this for The Big Daka. And there you go. You can pause to read it. But that's my favorite review I've written so far. That book is so good, by the way. Number 14. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. And for me, it is going to be Renegades. Lord of Excess. It's purple. It's a purple. Everything's purple. It's got so purple. It's purple. And I love the purple. And I love the character on the front. He looks cool. I love that there's this little creature in the background who's like a demon who's very important to the plot. This is a great book, and it's also an absolutely gorgeous book. I could die. I could die for this book. It's so purple. Purple, 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 purple. That's my favorite. It's the prettiest. It's the prettiest. What book do you need to read for the end of the year? Whatever I want. Bitch. I got no requirements. I'll read whatevs I want. I hope you enjoyed this. If not, I guess unsubscribe. Bye.